The 39 seasons and 39 days franchise recap is on to season 5, one of my personal favorites of all time, Battle of the Seasons. Airing January to May 2002, this season rewrote challenge history in so many ways. Road rule style era over, in came foundational challenge aspects that would shape the show forevermore, including staying in one location, out of the buses, into the villas, one for each team, but still a central location we came to know. The cast was one, way bigger, 32 instead of the 13 we'd had before. And two, it was people playing their second seasons ever. A lot of folks doing their second seasons ever here. Also, we had partners inside of teams, but previously we'd only had the 6-on-6 team events. Now, even within a semi-team concept, they were competing as pairs, which would go on to be the most standard format of the show. People were eliminated for the first time. You got 32. You got to get rid of some. It was voting, not elimination rounds. There was a scoring system used to gain and keep control of your team, decide who got voted out. There were hosts for the first time ever, as far as hosts that stayed for the whole season, every mission. Mark Long, Eric Nies, absolutely crushed. Prize money, that went up as well. $300,000 for the winners of the final, plus lots of high-value prizes throughout the daily challenges. We had cars, we had $20,000 shopping sprees, huge adventure packages. This total prize money was probably closer to $400K when all was said and done. And the list goes on. Some other smaller but still relevant challenge first. A baby was allowed in the house, which thankfully has never happened again. A power couple was targeted for potentially having too much sway on their team. There was a lot of puzzles involved, and the newlywed game was kind of the first version of the trivia the show had ever done. Obviously now with the 32-person cast, it was bound to be insane. Even with, big names like John, Beth, Yes, and Veronica going home in episode 1, which is wild, this season still carried tons of star power, as you had the debuts of Miz and Coral, two of my Mount Rushmore challenge figures who made it all the way to the end. You had Theo Vaughn's debut, Timmy Beggy's debut, Sean, Dan, and Holly making their second appearances, Kelly, Adam, Tara, Yesella, Norm, Holly B, Emily B, and more debuting and bringing the entertainment. As for memorable moments, where do I even begin? Well, with Mike and Coral, of course. We had Mike's 21st birthday. Remember how young these people used to be on these shows? That birthday led to a complete meltdown by Mike, who was thanking his lucky stars. He had great friend Coral there to talk him down and smooth things over with the rest of the cast. A few episodes later, during a wrestling-based daily challenge, Mike donned the Miz persona in ring for the first time ever. We had Timmy and his partner Emily, both hilarious throughout, highlighted by the fact that Timmy peed where he stood during a don't take your hand off the ice block challenge, and then later had to sit down in his own pee to complete said challenge. They did not win that. The newlywed game, mentioned before, could be considered the first ever trivia game in challenge history. It was instantly iconic. It showed how great hosts Mark and Eric were, how much fun they were having with it, showed the incredible chemistry and entertainment bona fides of the final 12 cast members. And speaking of those final 12, this season did end in the first ever traditional final challenge, meaning a series of checkpoints, both physical and mental. Season 4 sort of had the first final, but it was kind of just one objective to a mission. This feels more like the first final. That final was hotly contested until The Miz figured out the Tower of Hanoi puzzle to overtake Road Rules and secure the real world win right at the end, ending the first chapter in the Theo Von versus The Miz rivalry, kind of mini rivalry that played out over the next couple seasons. This final also included a deal brokered by both teams to split the winnings, of which everyone agreed to, except for one, Holly B, which meant Coral was the only winner who didn't have a cross-team partner to share money with when Real World got the W. But of all the moments, this season is likely remembered for one above all else: Hurricane Juliet and the toga party it created. Just days into filming, Hurricane Juliet ripped through Cabo, shutting down production, causing loss of power and flooding in the villas. And while semi-trapped and waiting it out, this cast did what only a challenge cast is capable of doing. They decided to light all the candles, turn sheets into togas, and have maybe the most legendary party in the history of the franchise. There were shenanigans galore, a secret VIP room guarded by Coral, costume contests, Miz giving lap dances, and so much more that we will likely never know about, but was captured on those handheld camcorders. I adore this cast. I adore this season. It's such an entertaining rewatch all these years later, a truly important season to challenge history, setting so much of the foundation of the show and featuring so many of the eventual legends of the game. And with all that said, It does dip in a few spots. They were still figuring out how to fill so many episodes, and it did have a couple things working against it, such as, those four big names going home in episode 1. So, all in all, subjectively, it is in my personal top 1 to 3 to 5 at most seasons of all time, but objectively, I've got to put it in the tippy top of the good tier. I imagine it might be the top ranked season within the good tier. I give it a solid B grade. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the upcoming Battle of the Eras recaps. Back tomorrow with season 6.